Hi, you can learn 3,000 words and be able to speak English quite well. I'm teaching 3,000 words and going deep into each word, one word a day. I hope that you enjoy this video and I hope that you look at my channel for a lot more. See you in the lesson. Appropriate. Appropriate is an adjective. Appropriate is a verb. Okay. So appropriate, they have two different meanings, but they are spelled exactly the same. Appropriate has to do with acceptable. For example, this is a very nice restaurant. It is, if I were to go to this restaurant dressed like this, that is not appropriate. Which dress here, which clothing, is appropriate? It's this one, right? This is the appropriate attire for this restaurant. That's the adjective, appropriate attire. Now, let's say that this girl, she is not appropriate for this restaurant, wants to take this girl's dress. Okay? There. She just took this girl's dress and she appropriated it. It doesn't belong to her. She took it and made it her own. She appropriated the appropriate dress for the occasion. Okay? She took it for her own. She appropriated it. So some other words, let's look at the adjective first. And I'm going to make that small so we have space. Some other words for appropriate, the adjective, are suitable, proper. Let's see, I don't want everything. Suitable, proper, only one P there. Fitting, good, fit. Acceptable. Those are some synonyms for the adjective appropriate. Now, appropriate as the verb. Some synonyms here are seize, claim, steal, confiscate, grab, occupy. Confiscate. Okay, so when I explained how this girl here appropriates this dress, to appropriate can mean to steal or take, but it can also mean to just confiscate. Maybe this girl has some authority and wants to take this dress, so she uses her authority to take it, and that's not strictly stealing, it's confiscating. The government often appropriates people's private property. Appropriate, that's the verb. So let's look at some examples. So, appropriate behavior. It's not appropriate to use your phone during a job interview. It's not suitable, it's not proper, it's rude, it's not appropriate. The committee voted to appropriate additional funds for disaster relief. Now, this is not, in this context, the committee's not actually stealing, but they are taking from one place to give to another place. So the committee voted to appropriate additional funds for disaster relief. They're taking it from one place and they're saying, okay, this money is now for this purpose. Critics argue that the designer appropriated indigenous symbols without understanding their significance. Okay, so a clothing designer liked the look of indigenous design. That designer is not an indigenous person. But that designer is getting money from this design. That designer appropriated the indigenous design and is using it for their own gain. That is a negative use of the word appropriate. Now we're looking at the adjective again. Please wear appropriate attire when attending the formal banquet. Dress in the right clothes. The teacher felt it was an appropriate action to contact the parents after the incident. Appropriate action. It was the right action. Now, how do you know when you're reading if you're getting an adjective or a verb? Here's the clue. There's a noun after appropriate. There's also a different verb for the sentence. So this must be an adjective. It might take you a little bit of practice for that. The teacher felt it was, there's our verb, an appropriate action. What kind of action? Appropriate. To contact the parents after the incident. So this answers what kind of. What kind of action, what type of action, appropriate. If we look at it as the verb, we need to find what is the verb in this sentence. We have two clauses here. We have the critics argue, that's a subject and a verb. And then we have a that. That is signaling us that we're going into a new phrase. It's almost like it's its own sentence. The designer is our subject. Appropriated is our verb. Now, we're not asking what kind of. Indigenous symbols, what kind of symbols? Not appropriate symbols, but indigenous symbols. So this is being used as our verb, okay? That's what you have to look for. Sometimes vocabulary is best understood by understanding the grammar. The opposite of appropriate, the adjective, is inappropriate. The adjective is appropriate, and the adverb is appropriately. Now, appropriate, as far as an antonym for appropriate, or the opposite of the verb, is to buy or purchase. If you purchase something, it's yours. If you appropriate it, you steal it. The noun is appropriation. There's no noun here. The verb is appropriate, and there's no adjective. There's no adverb. Okay? So when it comes to the meanings of these, the adjective, inappropriate, appropriate. The pronunciation, appropriate. The for the verb, the opposite is purchase or buy. The noun is appropriation, and the verb is appropriate. So the pronunciation is different. Appropriate, this one. Appropriate, this one. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you've learned a lot. Please put your comments below. I do look at those, and if you have English questions, I'm happy to answer them. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.